Hi, Sayali. How are you?
Hi Shiva, how are you?
Yeah,
I'm
good.
good. Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah,
doing good.
yeah. Hi Minal.
Hi.
Minal, are you Maharashtrian?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I am also Maharashtrian.
Oh, that's nice.
Hey Karthik, so there were 14 people who accepted this training invitation, but I think I'm only seeing
Okay.
8 people. So let's wait till 4-5 and maybe get started.
Sure. Abhishek says he's in a meeting, so he'll be a little late.
Oh, okay.
If at all he's joining. Yeah.
I think we can get started.
Okay. Let me quickly start presenting.
So the PPT or the deck Karthik will be sharing us now, along with the cloud recording of this meeting. So it will be shared on the Teams channel of our where we'll get updates about our training. So all of you can find it there. And if anyone is having any access issues, please to let me know. I'll see if I have not added you and I'll try to add it there.
Does anybody know how I can hide this bar?
Which bar?
The bar on the top, this toolbar.
Karthik, we won't be able to see that bar. Only it will be visible
Oh,
only for
okay.
you.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, fine. Yeah. I thought you guys also are seeing that. Okay. So you guys are only seeing the slide, right? Introduction to digital marketing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. Uh, thank you all for joining. In fact, I'll try and keep it short. I'll not take 1 hour because I don't think I have content for 1 hour. I'm prepared for 30 to 35 minutes is what I'll be taking. In fact, before I start speaking about digital marketing, I want to say why is this? Why am I eligible to take up this topic? Because so I got interested in marketing after my BTech in 2008, and then in 2009 I took up marketing as my major specialization in my MBA. Right, I'm a marketing. I'm also a digital marketing certified professional. I have DMCP certificate as well. Right, so I haven't used it in the current organization, but in my previous organization I was more into digital marketing, the social media marketing and stuff like that. Right, so this is something that kept evolving over time, and it's a very interesting topic, at least to me. Right, so shall we go ahead and get started with the topic? Yeah, if you have any doubts, you can stop me in the middle and ask, or we can keep it at the end also. Right, so what I'm gonna so the agenda for today is going to be we'll be learning what is market and what is marketing. The difference, there is no difference, but these are two different terms. So we'll see what is a market. It's a very basic things. We'll start from the very basics, and we'll also talk about what is marketing and how is it misinterpreted in the current world. Yeah, when you say marketing, people take it as sales and all, but we'll see what exactly is marketing and the 4 P's of marketing. We will, since it's the first there are a lot of marketing terminologies that you can learn and use in your day-to-day life, but we'll learn at least 2 or 3 for today, and if you guys are interested, maybe in one more session I'll tell you few more marketing terms. Right, since we are talking about digital marketing here, I have to say what is traditional marketing and how is it different from digital marketing, and what are the benefits of digital marketing. And each of these topics we are going to learn with examples. So I'll try and bring as many examples as possible so that you guys will be able to relate and and understand the topic better. We'll start off with what is market. It's basically a place where buying and selling happens. It's a place where buyers and sellers meet to transact. But as we all know, these days a market necessarily need not be a place with physical existence where customers walk in and buy. It can be physical as well as virtual also. When I say physical and virtual, this is the difference. Physical markets are those where you go personally shop, be it a vegetable market, supermarket, or an electronic showroom or a car showroom. These are all physical markets. Virtual markets are all those where you shop either on your phone, laptop, or any tablet or any internet device. So Swiggy is a food delivery app. You can virtually you can see what the product image, the food image, and then select it from there and have it, right? And Forever 21 is any website for that matter, Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra. These are all virtual markets. And the last example here I have is of Lenskart. In Lenskart, you can scan your face, using your front cam. You can even, if you like a particular model, you can even see how it looks on your face. So that's how the virtual markets are evolving these days, right? So that basically is a market. Market basically means where buying and selling happens. It need not be a physical existence alone. It can be virtual also. That's called a market. So we'll see what is marketing. Okay, so I think this topic, this is one topic I love to talk about. I fell in love with marketing years ago. When I first got interested in figuring out why people buy and act the way they do, and how to influence and affect the human behavior. Right, because whether you have a business or not, marketing happens pretty much every day. Any time you try to convince your friends or family to see a certain movie, or not see it, eat at this restaurant, don't eat at this restaurant, people are trying to convince you to do anything, anything that marketing is happening there, right? So with all of that said, let's get into the actual marketing topic. But first, let's cover what marketing is not and how is it misinterpreted in this current world. So once we learn what it is not, so then we can actually cover what it actually is. now I know, when I first got involved with marketing, my understanding was pretty limited. I used to think, I did not have a clear picture of what exactly marketing was. So I was thinking marketing was advertising. Well, in reality, marketing isn't advertising. Advertising is marketing. So advertising is just one form of marketing. Basically, marketing is a major business function that's made of a bunch of other parts, one of which, of course, is advertising that we already spoke. But there is also a ton of other things like market research, social media, content marketing, email marketing. We'll get into all these topics as we move forward. Search engine marketing, SEO is search engine optimization, pricing psychology. And there are quite a few more things that comes under marketing. So saying marketing is just advertising is kind of saying like, finance is just taxes, or HR is just hiring. So there are a lot of other things also that finance does. They don't just file our taxes, and and HR doesn't just hire. They do a lot of other things. So it's kind of similar. If you say marketing is just advertising, it is similar to how you say finance, taxes, and HR is hiring. So now, if you go further, there is a definition given by Philip Kotler. So he's called the father of marketing. So he says marketing is all about CCD-VTP. Okay. Now, what is CCD-VTP? It is Philip Kotler. He's called the father of marketing. So CCD-VTP basically means creating, communicating, delivering value to the target market, for profits. And here is talking about the profitability part, because the objective of any business is making profits, right? So when he says value here, the V part, value, he's actually talking about the benefits and costs. In fact, whenever you are buying a product, you're paying some money for it, right? And when you pay money, you expect certain benefits out of it, right? So that's the value that Philip Kotler here is talking about. And to the target market for profits, obviously, any business that you are in, you are looking for profits. So that's the basic definition of the bookish definition of marketing. So of course we can get into theoretical terms as well, but this is what marketing is in simple terms. Is it boring, guys?
No, no.
Nope.
Not to me, Karthik.
Okay. So when you speak of marketing, the first things that you actually learn is the 4 P's of marketing. What are these 4 P's? The 4 P's are also called as marketing mix. There is also another type of marketing mix, the 7 P's of marketing. The 4 P's of marketing is for products. The 7 P's of marketing is for services, right? But for today we'll learn only the 4 P's of marketing, because that's a more famous term than 7 P's of marketing. These are all, if you keep extending, the P's can go to any level, right? So there are also some theories which gives 10 P's of marketing, 11 P's of marketing. But these are the main 4 P's of marketing that covers the product part of it, right? So which is also called marketing mix. So when I say services, the services might include, banking services, insurance services, hotel services, restaurants, and everything. But we'll talk about product part of it using an example, right? And this applies only to products, as I told you, right? So to explain this concept to you, I will not be going into the bookish definitions of what it is, but rather what I'll do is I'll try and explain you with an example. Everybody can relate here, right? And the example which I'm going to take today is of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, as you all know, manufactures soft drinks, and they're very, very popular all over the world. Now, what is Coca-Cola's product? Coca-Cola is basically their product is soft drink, right? So now it saw the need in the market. People wanted alternative to juices. People wanted alternative to alcoholic drinks. They needed something more than a juice, and something that is less than a cocktail. Especially kids and young adults, when they go to a party, they can't drink alcohol. They just don't like juice. So Coca-Cola basically saw that need in the market, and they understood the need of the market, and then introduced soft drinks as a product. Now we'll get back to the 4Ps and talk about the first P, right? In India, we have Coke, Diet Coke, Coke Zero. We have a range of products from Coke, right? And we have other products of Coca-Cola like Sprite, Fanta, and so on also in India. Right? If you go to Japan, you have a different flavors of Coca-Cola. You have green tea Coca-Cola. The first P of marketing is the product. You have green tea Coca-Cola in Japan, so which was required in the Japanese market. So that is why they differentiated their product in such a way that they are serving Indian customers according to their tastes and preferences, and they are serving the Japanese customers according to the customer preferences there. In 2006, there was a Coca-Cola with orange also. This one that you see here, the third one, it was introduced in UK to say to actually serve the UK population. Though it was actually discontinued in 2008, but it is how Coca-Cola basically develops its variants. So there was Coca-Cola citrus fruit introduced in New Zealand. Coca-Cola Citra that you see here, it's looking like a tonic bottle. So there is Coca-Cola Clear in Japan, right? If you see this again, going back to Japan, Coca-Cola Clear, it's a very interesting product. Now, if you visit Japan and purchase Coca-Cola Clear, you will see it looks as if it's a Sprite, but it is totally transparent. It looks like Sprite, but it actually tastes like Coca-Cola itself. The reason why they introduced Coca-Cola Clear in Japan was Japanese people don't usually like too much sugar or sweetness, and the regular Coca-Cola which was available was actually sweet for the Japanese people. So they introduced different variants of Coca-Cola just to cater to the Japanese market. Likewise with other regions, right? This is the first P of market. This is how the first P of marketing mix works. You understand the need of the market and you introduce a product, right? Coming on to second P, it's the price. Now price is something that customers pay for fulfilling their needs, right? So price is something based on which any company earns its revenues. In India, you can get a Coca-Cola for 10 rupees, 15 rupees, or for a 300 ml, and 500 ml PET bottle for 35 to 40 rupees, and so on, right? In US, you pay $1 for Coca-Cola bottle, which is approximately 70 to 75 rupees. In Europe, you pay €1, which is 85 to 90 rupees. So the price depends on market to market. Some places it is cheap, some places it is expensive. So the manufacturing cost in India may be different. So that's why it is cheaper than other places. The manufacturing cost in UK, Europe, and Japan may be different. So any company has to get their pricing right. So not just based on manufacturing costs and shipping costs and distribution and so on. Customer psychology also comes into picture. Just because you understand the need of the customer and introduce a product, you cannot price your product at your own will, right? So I'll bring another example here. Don't mind me bringing one more example here, and I'm not trying to confuse you guys. So how many of you remember the iPhone 5C that came in different colors? Different colors, and it was a plastic body. So before it was launched, people who cannot afford an iPhone were hoping that they can finally get their hands on an iPhone at a cheaper price. But did Apple get their pricing right? I don't think they got the pricing right, because when their regular aluminum body costed approximately 50K or 55K, the plastic body iPhone 5C was actually priced at 42K. There wasn't big difference. So 42K, it was still expensive for a middle class guy, who wants to own an iPhone, right? So they might have succeeded in a different way. They did not want to be known as a company that sells low cost products, but with that particular product, they could not achieve more sales, right? Yeah. The same thing with Nano also. Before Tata Nano was launched, it was positioned in the market as a 1 lakh car, but end of the day, their top end Nano, I don't know how many variants are there in Nano, but their top end costed almost 2K, 2 lakhs. But it wasn't a good car, as we all know. All the hype was all gone. The moment it got launched in the market. One of the reasons why it failed is the high price. right? So for 1 lakh, you weren't getting, even the lowest variant was costing you somewhere around 1.5 lakhs. So that way, they did not get their pricing right there, right? Now going back to the marketing mix, the third P of marketing is place. What exactly is place? Now place is nothing but your distribution channel. Yeah? How available is your product to your ultimate customer? The distribution channel of Coca-Cola is so good that Coca-Cola was available in every tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities in India. So it is available in every small town and village, even any remote place that you go to, it was still available, right? The distribution channel is so strong that they make sure that more and more people can actually consume their product. More and more people can replace, juices, replace hard drinks with Coca-Cola. Suppose if Coca-Cola is manufactured in a small town in UK, now the next step is to transport it to all parts of United Kingdom. Like, they want it to have to transport it to every retailer in London, every retailer in Manchester, every retailer in Scotland, and so on. So that's how important a place is, right? So coming on to the last P of marketing mix, it's promotion. Promotion, I think, is something everybody understands. It is nothing but making your customers aware about what is your product, when is it available, where is it available, and at what price it is available, right? In simple terms, promotion is nothing but communicating the first 3 P's to the customer, in an effective way, right? Suppose, we spoke about green tea Coca-Cola, in Japan. Just in case the company, wants to launch green tea Coca-Cola in India, but they do not advertise it at all. They are not using any social media. They are not using any print media. They're just launching a product and sending those to various retailers in, and cities. Uh, how will the customers know that a new variant of Coca-Cola is available unless they are promoting it, right? So that is where promotion comes. As far as Coca-Cola is concerned, they use social media, print media, television media. They use celebrity endorsements. They also collaborate with sporting events, and if you remember, not just Coca-Cola, Pepsi IPL. We had Pepsi IPL. It's a collaboration with BCCI, and so that is also one of their promotion channels, right? The television channel. And the order of these 4 P's cannot be changed. Product comes first, price second, place, and then promotion, because you cannot decide your price first and then design your product. You cannot promote your product without even knowing what product are you promoting. You cannot. So it actually comes in an order: product, price, place, and promotion. So the remaining 3 P's that comes under service are, people, process, and physical evidence, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Those are the 7 P's, but we'll talk about 4 P's only here. So as I was saying, we'll learn a few terms, in marketing before we get into the actual digital marketing topic, because these are some terms that you can use as a part of your vocabulary, so if you use these terms, you will sound like a marketing professional. So top of mind awareness, it's one of the important concepts in consumer behavior. Top of mind awareness is one measure, how brands rank in the mind of customers. Top of mind recall, it is also called top of mind recall, or brand recall. There are multiple names to it, but TOMA is how they is a word given to it. Top of mind awareness is the official word given to it. Top of mind awareness is the first brand, that comes into the customer's mind when they are asked an unprompted question about any particular category. Suppose if all of a sudden, if I ask you, tell me one TV brand that you will purchase, right? What is your first what is the first brand that comes to your mind? Companies strive a lot to be in the top of mind for customers, because that's how they rank themselves. If so for example, a TV, a washing machine. If I say washing machine, which is the first brand that comes into your mind? If I say laptop, which is the first one? Is it Dell? Is it HP? Or what? So companies strive a lot to be in the top of mind for customers. And it need not be an expensive product. It can be as simple as a chair, a plastic chair that we use at home. If I say plastic chair, which brand will come to your mind? Neil Kamal? That
A
is
toothbrush or toothpaste,
anything. I'll give you examples also and ask you to guess, tell the brand that comes to your mind. It can even be a newspaper. If I say newspaper, English Daily, which one comes to your mind? Is it the Times of India? Is it the Hindu? So that's how important top of mind awareness is, right? How do companies achieve this top of mind awareness? By advertising in the right places, where their potential customers hang out, be it social media, print media, hoardings, billboards, and so on, right? So here is an example. I say search engine, which is the first brand that comes to me. Now I already have the answers here. Let me see which, how many of you recall search engine. When if I say search engine, there are quite a few search engines. Which one comes to your mind first?
Ovio.
Huh?
Google.
Yeah.
Google.
I didn't get the first answer. Okay. So if I say toothpaste, which one comes to your mind first?
Colgate.
Pepsodent.
Colgate. I know. So if I say noodles, it's Maggie. Yeah.
Maggie.
Right. So that's what top of mind recall is. So we'll go to brand positioning, right? Positioning is basically, right now we spoke about top of mind awareness, right? Top of mind awareness is like you tell customer a category and ask him to tell which brand that comes to my mind first. Brand positioning is you give a brand to customer and you want to understand how the customer perceives that particular brand, in their mind. So it's basically the benefit you want your customer to perceive when they think of your brand. I have a few examples here. Amazon. The moment I say Amazon, they want to position their brand in the market as the most customer-friendly organization. So that's how they want to position their. They positioned their brand in the minds of customers. So if I say Rolex, you'll say, and the first thing that comes to your mind is it's an expensive watch. Right? If Rolex tomorrow makes a watch worth just 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, will you buy it? Is it the first thing that you will think is it an original Rolex or not? Right? So Rolex is basically positioned in the minds of customer as a expensive watch brand. Big Bazaar. If I say Big Bazaar, will you go and buy a Pepe Jeans t-shirt? Are they even available in Big Bazaar? Big Bazaar actually positioned themselves, their brand in the minds of customer as a brand where cheaper items are available, right? So they have to place their Big Bazaar showrooms also in the right places, like Koti, like Amirpet. So that's where they go and place. That's how they wanted to position in the minds of customer. So if I say Johnson and Johnson, the first thing that comes to your mind is it's a company that makes baby products, right? So if I say Woodland, the first thing that comes to your mind is it's the toughest footwear that is durable, right? That's how they are positioning their brands in the minds of customers. So tomorrow if they do something different, their total brand image itself is going down, right? Dettol, if I say Dettol is perceived as a brand that kills germs, whether they have an antiseptic liquid, a bath soap, a hand wash, anything. It's basically perceived as a brand that kills germs and keeps you safe, right? I hope I'm making some sense here. Yeah. Just let me know, guys, if you guys are not understanding something.
Karthik, are you trying to say each brand has got their own theme that they want to position themselves in the minds of customers?
Yes, not all brands have it. See, if you say Dell, Dell has positioned their Dell has a variety of products, range of products starting from Inspiron for for Latitude. So they are known for they are known in the market as a in fact we are known in the market as a as a brand that is affordable for any segment, right? So
Sorry.
not all brands, yeah, most of the these big brands want to position themselves in the market as a brand that is known for something.
Right. Yeah.
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 So this is an ad of a car. With this ad they are trying to position their car as a spacious car, in the market. So with this, what they are trying to communicate, they have not written anything there. With the help of an image, they are saying, you can literally fit a bicycle in the boot, so that that way they are trying to say it's a spacious car, right? So here Hummer is trying to say that positioned in the minds of customers as a brand that is as a car that is that is made for rough roads, right? So it can that's what they are trying to say with this ad. They have not written anything, they just said challenge geography, right? It means the moment you see this picture you will say, wow, Hummer is actually made for rough roads. If I can afford it, I will go ahead and buy it. So that's how they are positioning in their products in the market, right? So this is the last term. Then we'll quickly move on to digital marketing, the actual digital marketing. USP is unique selling proposition. What you have, your unique selling proposition is basically what you have that your competitors don't, right? What your customers want, what do you do well, what your competitors do well, right? USP is one thing that is different. A brand can have multiple USPs also, a product can have multiple USPs also. It need not be one single benefit. We'll see that with an example, right? The first example that I have here is Domino's Pizza. Here the pain is, for example, a mom and dad, a working mom and dad are too tired to cook, but their kids are starving, and they want something, very quickly. No, at that particular point in time, Domino's had their USP, their unique selling proposition, or you can call it unique selling point, is we deliver it in 30 minutes, or we'll give it to you for free. So that's their USP, right? So another example I have is of MG Hector, right? Their USP right now, there is no a car brand which actually gives you free maintenance for 5 years. You don't pay a single penny for for car maintenance for the next 5 years. All you pay is whatever amount, and then you don't even take care of maintenance. They'll come pick up your car and then drop it back at your place without charges for 5 years. So that's how they that's their unique selling point. Also, they have a 10.4-inch screen which nobody else has, in their segment, and they are already 5G ready. So they have positioned their market as an internet car, and they have certain USPs. For example, I'm not trying to promote MG Hector here. Kia again. Kia has Kia also is a car that is selling at the same price, but their unique selling point was no other car company in this currently is actually giving you a Bose sound system in their cars. So that's their unique selling point. That's one thing that they are doing well, that their competitors are not. So that is their unique selling proposition, right? So I also have a few more examples. FedEx had guaranteed overnight delivery. You give something in the morning, and then in the morning, and they were guaranteeing the delivery by night itself, by the same night, on the same day. So there is also another example, which is Oppo F1s. I don't know how many of you know that particular product. Their unique selling point was this: they saw the need in the market that a lot of customers, especially in India, wherever you go, they were clicking selfies and uploading on social media. But if you want a proper selfie with a good camera, so you have to turn your phone and then use a mirror to click a right picture with your rear camera. But they positioned their product in the market as a as a product which has 16 megapixel front camera versus just a 13 megapixel rear camera, right? So that's their unique selling point, right? They understood, they knew the pain of customers. They addressed it by giving a 16 megapixel front camera versus just a 13 megapixel. So that's their unique selling point. Oppo F1's selling point. It is known as a selfie camera phone, right? So let's get into the actual digital marketing piece. So digital marketing is, I'll just read out the definition, bookish definition here, and then we'll get into the details of what it actually is. So digital marketing is the act of promoting products or services with the help of digital services, digital devices or technology, right? So actually in traditional marketing, anything that you see or hear on radio, TV, billboard, hoardings, newspapers, anything that is not on your phone or mobile is traditional marketing. Anything that is happening without internet, I mean, is is actually traditional marketing. But in digital marketing, marketers promote their campaigns on search engines, mobile social media platforms, emails, mobile apps, etc. So they use the digital technology currently to promote their brands. So that is basically digital marketing in simple terms, right? So the reason why digital marketing has become so important these days uh, is because there is a lot happening on the internet every 60 seconds, right? If you say Facebook, 1.3 million people are logging in every, in 1 minute, right? Messages, there are 19 million text messages sent every day, right? 4.7 million videos viewed per minute. So there is a lot happening on the internet, with various applications in place. So that is why digital marketing has a bigger reach as compared to traditional marketing. So we'll see what are the benefits of digital marketing versus traditional marketing. I'm not trying to bash traditional marketing here. I'm just trying to give you the benefits of digital marketing as compared to traditional marketing. So the first benefit is, in traditional marketing, the reach is limited, because we know in traditional marketing the reach is limited, and in digital marketing, reach is maximum. What I mean by that is, when you print something, you are actually printing it for X amount of people, right? In traditional marketing, when you're promoting a brand, you basically create 1,000 flyers or something, or to be more generous, 2,000 flyers, right? But in digital marketing, you can promote it to a whole lot of people. So 2,000 or 3,000 is nothing when you are actually targeting the audience on Facebook or Instagram. So the reach is maximum here, right? In traditional marketing, it's non-versatile versus digital marketing is versatile. By this, I mean to say, so going back to our flyers example, you create a flyer of one size, or two sizes maximum, right? But in digital marketing, you can customize it to different screen sizes, and even make videos, which is not possible in traditional marketing, right? You can just print a newspaper ad that's just an image. You cannot create videos in traditional marketing, right? So in digital marketing, you can create videos and let customers and take your point to the customers, right? So the other main benefit is the delayed communication with traditional marketing versus instant communication on digital marketing. With traditional marketing, there's always delayed communication, meaning you are trying to get that TV spot there, but there is no spot vacant till 1 o'clock in the morning. But in digital marketing, there is no hours. You can certainly get your point out there, and have people see it instantly in whatever time you want, right? And in traditional marketing, we don't have real time results. You don't know how many people has your ad reached, how are customers taking your, whether they are reacting positively or negatively to your ad. You can't track it. But in digital marketing, that's one of the biggest benefits, instant real time results. Nowadays, we have analytics. You can look at real time reporting, and we can see the real time results, how your ad is performing, how many of them have clicked on your ad, how many of them have opened it and read it completely, read it fully, how many of them have watched your video completely, right? How many of them have skipped your video and skipped your ad. So you can literally track everything on digital media, right? So traditional marketing is kind of expensive with if you want to reach larger audience. It can be expensive. I mean, if you are doing a postcard and printing postcard, you have to mail those postcards. So there is postage fee. But with digital marketing, it's very cost efficient. You can I mean you can pick and choose who you want to target, when you want to target, and where you want to target also. Now, if you're doing search, you can put your bidding in place. You can really control how much you actually spend. Not only get real-time results, but you could also control your costs as well, right? And obviously optimize, based on the amount you want to spend, based on the results, based on the real-time results that you are seeing, right? uh, uh, Difficult to reach target audience in traditional marketing versus easy to reach target audience in traditional marketing. It's actually difficult to reach your target audience because see, again, I don't want to bash the traditional marketing too much. But TV, if you're releasing if you're giving a TV ad, you don't really control who is watching, who is not watching, who is but if you're promoting something on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, you can go there and then pick and choose specifically who you want to target, when you want to target, at what time, which region you want to target, of which age group you want to target. So it just becomes a lot easier to reach your target audience on digital marketing platform, right? So these are the main benefits of digital marketing as compared to traditional marketing, because a lot of people are on the internet these days. So that's generally pretty much everything that I've listed here as benefits of digital marketing. We'll get into the different types of digital marketing and then end it there. So these are the different types of digital marketing. The first thing is search engine optimization. SEO is search engine optimization. Most of us know what it is, but for the benefit of people who don't know what search engine optimization is, I'll tell you. SEO, it's actually the process of increasing the quality and also the quantity of relevant organic traffic. I'll tell you what is organic traffic and what is sponsored traffic to your websites from search engines, basically. So that means if somebody types in a keyword, you actually want that relevant page to show up, show up on Google. I'll give you with an example, right? So this is search engine optimization. This is an example of search engine optimization. A customer has typed online shopping. uh, Forget about the top ad. These are organic search results. You are not paying for it, but making sure that you are staying on top when customers try to buy. So for that, you have to get your keywords right. You have to input the right keywords and do a search engine optimization. We have a SEO team. That's what they keep doing here, even at Dell. So they want to make sure they add all the relevant keywords and make sure that they are a part of they're a part of at least the first page of Google search results. Because there is a saying in English, so the best place to hide a dead body is the second page of Google, because nobody actually goes to the second page when you try to search something on Google, right? So any search engine for that matter, we very rarely go to the second page to get to see the results. Our results usually are available in the first page itself. So you always want to stay on top. So these are called the organic search results, right? I'll tell you what are sponsored search results, which you are already seeing here. We'll talk about search engine marketing. Now, each of these you can get into the technical details also, but since this is just introduction to digital marketing, I'm just showing you with examples of what it is or not. So the technical details we can get into it later, right? We'll talk about SEM. As search engine marketing is, it's basically the practice of marketing any business using paid advertisements on search engines, which we just saw, right? And other websites. There are a lot of names, in fact, synonymous to search engine marketing. They call it pay-per-click, Google Ads, AdWords, cost per click, sponsored ads. So SEM is really just using paid ads on search engines. So we just saw it. I'll go back to this example. So here, MyUS, if you want to be found on search engine for a particular keyword for online shopping, so you don't have to worry about in search engine marketing. You don't really have to worry about organic results, because if you're going to pay for it. So if somebody is going to click on the link, the top link here from myus.com, myus.com is obviously going to pay Google, depending on what their cost per click is. It can be, the cost per click can be anywhere between $1 to $100 or even more. It depends on the keyword, uh, who else is bidding for the same keyword, which other competitor is bidding for the same keyword. It depends on the location, it depends on the time of the day. There are a lot of factors involved when it comes to how much you are paying to Google for one single click, for every click. So this is basically search engine marketing. Search engine marketing, you don't really have to worry about which keywords and all. You give them a keyword and Google will make sure that it is on the top, but it is going to collect money from you end of the day, right? So that is search engine marketing. We'll go to email marketing. So email marketing, this is one of the traditional channels of digital marketing. You can send an email to your audience with your ad. Like, if you want to target people between your audience, any audience between 35 to 45 years of age, any age for that matter, you can do that and later be also be able to track the performance of that particular email. Email is, it's really an effective way to get your message out. And you can even, there are quite a few email campaign websites, like Mailchimp. There are quite a few websites. They charge you. There is a fee for sending bulk emails, and they will also show you how many of them have opened it, what is the click rate, what is the open rate, how many of them have not even opened it and deleted it. So all this you can track on email marketing. So that's what I was talking about. You can, the benefits of email marketing, you can track it. And if you know that the title or the subject you used in the keyword, see, we receive a lot of emails on our Gmail, right? There are a lot of spam emails. So the title will say, you won a reward 1 lakh rupees. So they track those performances also, right? If that particular keyword isn't working, someone trying to send a message.
No, Karthik, I just send it.
Oh.
Basically, the customer relationship management CRM tool is used for email marketing in most of the corporates.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, true. So I'll tell you I'll show you an example of email marketing. Sorry, it wasn't there. So this is an example of email marketing. You can put your coupon code right there in the email, and then say you're getting 30%, and then include a shop now button there itself, so that people can click on it and come to your website. You can track that also, how many of them have actually come to the website from this shop now by clicking on this shop now button. So that also can be tracked in digital marketing, email marketing. So there is affiliate marketing. The next important one is the affiliate marketing. So it's in the name itself. So affiliate marketing is, it's also an efficient way of digital marketing that involves the merchant will pay commissions to one or more affiliates, for placing their product in their, on their websites, right? The third party website. I'll show you an example there also. So for example, a review page. There is a new product in the market that's launched in the market. So you are going and reading a blog post about that particular, how is the performance of it, whether I can go and buy it or not. So they write a good review, and at the end they give you a link to go purchase that brand in in their website. So that's basically affiliate marketing. See here, freecamall.com is a website. So they have placed, Amazon, Snapdeal, Flipkart, they have all come to this site, and they are paying Freecamall to place their particular products on a third party website, right? So even this askmebazaar.com. So askmebazaar will pay Freecamall. So basically they are affiliating and making sure that their products are sold because they know that these are some of the most visited websites. So that is affiliate marketing. Social media marketing, again, we see a lot of ads on Facebook, these days. So they can be paid ads, they can be organic ads. So there social media, and in fact, I remember creating my social media account, a Facebook account in 2006 or 7. Since then, social media has evolved a lot, but the process of promoting on social media has not changed. You can either create an ad on social media on Facebook, or create your ad organically, as I told you, and not pay for Google also. But if you don't pay for pay for Facebook, I'm sorry, but if you don't pay, the reach is limited again. If you are paying Facebook, they'll make sure that how many people are actually seeing that ad. They will also guarantee you the likes. If you are opening a business page on Facebook, and pay Facebook, you can decide which region likes do you want, which age group of people want to see your ad. So you can decide everything on Facebook, and then pay for it, and they will make sure and give you, end of the day they'll tell you, you have spent 90 rupees today, and this is the benefit we gave, for you, for the amount you paid. So that's basically social media marketing, right? This is an example here, right? Simply Learn is, you can clearly see the sponsored, it says sponsored here, right? When you say sponsored, that means Simply Learn is actually paying Facebook to appear in your news feed, right? So that, if you like the image, you can directly go to their page. If you like the messaging, you can go to their page and like the page end of the day. So Facebook also guarantees you likes. So if you pay 90 rupees or 100 rupees, they'll guarantee you 25 to 40 likes per day, right? So that kind of, if you want to pay 400 rupees, if your budget is more, and if you pay 400 or 500 rupees, they'll guarantee you 100 likes per day. So that way you can always choose. There is a price bar, you can always drag it and choose it on Facebook. Not just Facebook, there are other companies, other social media platforms also who are doing this, right? But Facebook is one of the most famous social media platform where a lot of us spend time on. So marketers also want to spend their money on on Facebook, right? So the other important thing is content marketing. So content marketing is basically, it again, the name itself suggests that you are trying to promote your product using content. Now, content necessarily need not be a text content only. It can be videos, blog, anything. It's basically a technique of creating and distributing value valuable online content to your target audience. I'll show you examples here as well. So here, Simply Learn is actually promoting it has created a video about digital marketing certified associate course, and they put it on YouTube, because this is one form of you don't always need to write the content. You can produce the content in the form of videos also and post it on YouTube. This is another example of content marketing. There are no videos here, but they have written a blog which says, they are trying to say uh, how to lose weight. They write a clear blog of it, and then they include images. And end of the day, if you want their services, you have to pay for them, right? So that's usually revealed at the end. But this is also one form of content marketing, right? And the last piece of it is, there are other pieces also, but these are the most widely used forms of digital marketing, right? Mobile marketing, it actually enables any company to reach their target audience through mobile devices, be it tablets, smartphones, or anything that you can hold in your hand, right? In the form of messages, app installs, or something like that. So this is a mobile marketing. Amazon is actually sending, we receive a lot of messages. If you go shop on a particular website, next day that it keeps sending, without your knowledge, you would have accepted their terms and conditions, saying, one of the terms and conditions will be, you just keep clicking on next, but what you would have missed is, you have already subscribed for their SMS alerts. So that way you always have an option of going and unsubscribing, but it is not as easy as subscribing for a SMS alert. So SMS alerts is one of the form of mobile marketing. Also app, for example, you are actually playing playing one of your favorite games on on your phone, not PUBG anymore, Shiva. But so any game that you are playing, there is very high possibility that you receive an ad. If at all that you are using a free version of that app, of that game, it's very likely that you receive an ad in the middle, of a game that you usually have to pay for, of another game, another similar game that you might be interested in, for which you will have to end up paying. If you click on it, it will take you to the Play Store or App Store, and there you have to pay for it to get that. Otherwise, you wouldn't even know that a game, such a game exists in App Store or Play Store, only because you are playing another, that this particular paid app is actually paying this free company, free app, free game app. So that's one form of mobile marketing, right? So I think that's all I have for today, but I want to end it with a few there is a page called Mad Over Marketing on Facebook. If you like that page, you will see a lot of creative ads, right? I'll show you some of the ads. There is no messaging. Only with the help of image, they are trying to communicate a message to you, right? So if you see this, they say, welcome. Burger King says, welcome to the impatient. What do you understand by this, right? It says you can't wait to have it. You can't wait to go reach your home and then have the meal. It is so tempting that you eat it while driving itself, right? So that's what they're trying to say. And there is an airline company in Australia, which is, with this ad, they are trying to say they are launching a direct flight to USA from Australia. So they did not write anything. They just say, Australia, now you are flying. This is the company's name, and with this, they are trying to communicate that we have launched direct flight from Australia to USA. Right? This is the Pepsi IPL ad. This was long back. It says you won't need it, because what IPL is trying to say here is, our matches are so interesting, that you'll bite off your nails, without the help of a nail cutter. You won't need it. So Mercedes, this is Mercedes ad. This is how Mercedes wish their customers on print media or on digital marketing for Ganesh Chaturthi, right? So it's very clear here that their lighting and their logo is very clear, and that's how they wish their customers on. And McDonald's has actually launched a free Wi-Fi in one of their Australian outlets, and this is how they communicated it, using their what do you call this, potato
French fries.
veg
French
yeah,
fries.
French fries, yeah, in the French fries. And I don't watch it, but there is a show called Friends, and in UK, it's clearly written here. It was aired on the last episode was aired on Friday. So Channel 4 ran this campaign ad for this series finale. They brought ends to the beginning and says ends fry, right? So even though it is spelled incorrectly here, the Friends is spelled incorrectly here, how the Friends logo is designed. So wherever you see it, you can instantly recognize it. So it says ends Friday. Channel 4, that's how they did it. And this is the last one. JBL has actually advertised their noise cancelling earphones, with this chic image. They say, especially when there was a lot of fights going on between US and North Korea, they say, you won't hear the noise, however big the noise is around you. So with this, I want to add, and I end here because too much information. Oh, it's already 5. I didn't notice. So that's it I have for now, guys. So maybe if you are interested, we can get into the details of each of these different forms of digital marketing. That's all I have for now. I hope it was interesting. If not, I'm sorry.
It is. Now we are professionally trained in digital marketing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Any questions for Karthik?
Karthik, it's really great session and we learned a lot from today on the digital marketing. So previously we were in some other impression, but today we got
What was your impression earlier?
the earlier impression is something like, they're giving the advertisement. So that's what we know. But there are a lot of types and lot
Exactly.
of technology existing in the digital market.
See, especially a lot of companies, as I was saying in the beginning, they don't really worry about the conversion rate when they are advertising something on a hoarding, because for hoardings they have to pay huge money to advertise on a billboard or a hoarding, right? But the reason why they are doing it, one of the main reasons they are doing it is not to make sure that customers come to them and buy. They want to stay on top of mind, because on a day, on one day, you see a lot of ads. What is one ad that comes to your mind, if I say which advertisement do you remember, that you've watched recently, right? So they want to stay on top of mind of the customer, so they want to be visible to customer wherever the customer is going. They want their brand name to be visible so that they don't forget it. Because what happens is, however good a brand is, if it is not in advertising, if it is not appearing in front of customers in whatever form, be it social media or on print media, wherever, there are very high chances that the customer might think that the company has shut down, right? So that will not come to their mind. That brand will not come to their mind when they think of buying their products, right? So
yes.
that's one of the reasons they do it.
Yeah. So when Microsoft released the operating system, right? So that time was in US, so that they are actually they're doing, there are a lot of rehearsals went in the Microsoft to put the advertisement for the new operating system. So it's really interesting. So that time I realized that, okay, back of advertisement, this much of hard work they're doing.
Yeah.
Good thing, actually.
Hannah.
It's really awesome, Karthik. I love this session, really. So could you please send the link, like which you showed in your, in the training, like you showed that one, Simply Learn is, given a free training on this digital marketing. Could you please?
They don't give free training of digital marketing. Maybe you will just learn the basics there.
YouTube
Yeah. YouTube one, they are just advertising their course there. They don't have the entire course available on YouTube. Usually not, because who will go to their website and pay for it if it is available for free on social media, right? On YouTube.
Okay, Karthik. Yeah. Thank you very much, Karthik. Really, it's a great session.
Thank you very much.
Hannah, I just had one question. First of all, great session. Thank you for all the insights and explanation. I am sure pretty much effort you have put in just to prepare those slides. Just one question, Anna. So my question is around digital marketing. So basically, when the marketing term started, I'm pretty sure that digital marketing has something which started in the social media age. If just correct me if I'm wrong here. Now, if you say that there is a certain share in the market which is for digital marketing, how do you see in future, maybe say in 5 years, do you see this digital marketing space taking over the entire marketing space, and the other marketing options being the minor part and digital marketing dominating everything else? Do you
Digital
see
marketing will definitely be the future of, because there are this Simply Learn sells a lot of a lot of customers who go to Simply Learn. They have variety of courses on Simply Learn, but digital market people who are subscribing for digital marketing is increasing. There are a lot of digital marketing jobs available in the market. So the reason why there are a lot of jobs is because they see the future of marketing is digital. right? Everything is becoming digital these days. So digital marketing, I don't think can be taken over by traditional marketing in future. But see, traditional, I am not saying, trying to say traditional marketing is not important. There are traditional marketing might be useful for people who spend a lot of time on television, watching televisions, especially women at home who watch serials, who watch television programs. So but digital marketing is something that has future for sure. I'm no one to talk about the future of digital marketing, but I personally see a lot of future for digital marketing.
Sure, thank you. My question was basically, do we see it taking over? But then I think you answered it.
It has
Well,
already
well.
taken over. It has already taken over. I think your question is whether it will remain.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it will. It will. Yeah. My
Sure.
one word answer will be it will.
Yeah, the only one was successful in traditional marketing was Amway. Amway, that was multi-channel marketing, basically chain marketing. That was one successful.
MLM, multi-level
Yeah,
marketing.
yeah, that was one
We still see
successful
people doing that.
traditional marketing. Yeah, yeah. It goes with the brand actually. Amway has, and there are some. They sell and they earn. So
Yeah, there are a lot of
still
people who
going.
try to copy that, but then
Yeah.
I think it is still successful. Yes, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.